Hey guys, happy Father's Day to all the dads out there. It's a beautiful Sunday up in New York. We're going to be heading up to the Hawk's Nest right now along the Delaware River. I just want to do a quick video here for you guys, go over the top 5 things that I would change about the Indian Scout Bobber. Number 1, and everybody knows it, the seat. I've already changed the seat out. I've installed a Corbin seat. The seat on this bike is super uncomfortable. I would love to see Indian make some changes in the future. There's a lot of things on a bike, you know, like the exhaust, air intakes, things like that, that I think when you purchase a bike, you kind of know you're going to have to dump some extra money into it. The seat is one of those things where if they could put a seat on this thing that was even slightly comfortable, it would just go a long way. It's you know, to have to dump $500 on a Corbin seat right out of the box, it's a little bit frustrating. That being said, the Corbin seat is awesome. It still remains a great all-around seat. Like I've said in the past, it's night and day. But that is the number one thing that if you buy this bike, it's almost a guarantee you're gonna have to get a seat. The number 2 thing is the suspension, specifically the rear shocks. So one of the things about getting a brand new seat on here and kind of taking away that constant pain is that I think for some time I overlooked the suspension on the bike. The suspension on the bike is not very good. So I've gone out and I've bought the Progressive 444 rear shocks. That'll be the next video I send your guys' way. Haven't installed them yet. I also bought the Progressive front fork springs. They were 80 bucks. I don't really have too much bad to say about the forks on this bike, but those springs got some pretty good reviews, so we're gonna go ahead and install them anyway. But the rear shocks on this bike are tough. I mean, there's a couple local roads that I ride down that have consistent bumps, and I do not look forward to it at all. When I come up to railroad tracks, I mean, it's not a good thing. Let's just put it that way. So the suspension on this bike, it's nothing to write home about. And again, I should have a video coming out soon. Well, the other thing is there aren't too many choices right now. I went with the Progressive 444s because really they're one of the few shocks that's available in the 11-inch size that comes standard on the Bobber. There's a couple other shocks that are out there, like if you go on the Indian's website, you could buy the Fox shocks, but I think they're a 12-inch shock, which is going to raise the bike up a bit. And at least at this point, I didn't want to raise the bike up. But if you've seen my other video, I recently bought a Triumph Thruxton R. That thing has Öhlins suspension in the rear, and I mean that's I've never been on anything like that. So I think it's been a combination of, you know, riding this thing quite a bit since getting the new seat and getting a bike with pretty much the best suspension out there, that it's time for an upgrade here. So look forward to that video coming out. The third thing I would do, I'll kind of combine these here. I'm about 6 feet tall. What I'm thinking about doing is down with the foot pegs. First of all, the foot pegs themselves, they don't spring back at all. And so I'm currently in the market. I'm looking around for some foot pegs that are a little bit better quality. Maybe install a spring down there. The lean angle on this bike isn't very good, so you're constantly scraping pegs. These pegs, they've been scraped up quite a bit at this point. But the pegs themselves are kind of they feel like a cheap plasticky material, and I think Indian could have done a much better job on that. One other thing in the footrest area is I'm thinking about extending these out a bit. Like with the additional forward control extenders. So the next time I stop by an Indian dealership, I'm going to ask those guys a couple questions about that. The bike is surprisingly comfortable for the position and for me being 6 feet tall, but I have a feeling that if my feet could extend out an extra inch or two, it would be even more comfortable. So that's something that I'm looking at changing out. But those things are more preference. The first two things that I mentioned, they're almost a must to get this bike to where it needs to be. But the foot pegs themselves and extending them out, that's kind of more of a personal thing. So those are the top three. The fourth thing that I would change is also personal. I have no issues with the levers on this bike, but they are chrome. I would like to black them out. There just aren't too many options out there in the market right now that are appealing to me that I'm looking to change them out for. But at some point in the future, it's not like they're heavy. They shift very smoothly, I think, for what they are. The bike just in general shifts much smoother since I flashed the ECU. But so the fourth thing is you know, it's more of a aesthetic preference, but nonetheless it's something that I'm going to change out on the bike. And the fifth and final thing that I'm going to change out on the bike, I'm going to install a Motodemic blacked out bezel headlight. The Motodemic headlights, I just had one installed on the Triumph Thruxton R. It's a great headlight, great at night, but it also looks cool during the day. So I'll chalk that one up. That fifth upgrade or fifth change to the bike that I would do, the stock headlight's okay. It works fine. I don't do much night riding. The Motodemic is much better. It's going to be much brighter. Like I said, I have it on the other bike. But there's also an aesthetic purpose for installing that as well. I really like the way that it looks, and I really want to just black out the rest of this bike. So those are pretty much the 5 things I would change. In terms of the seat and the suspension, Indian, get your stuff together, guys. I would look forward to those updates on the next release of the bike. You know, nobody should have to fork over the money. There are other bikes have better suspension. I mean, I just completed the demo days a month ago, and there are other bikes have the Chieftains and the Springfields and whatnot. You know, the suspension out of the box just feels much better on those bikes. But what on the Bobber, it's just another $600 down the drain. So again, I've tried to separate this into things that I think Indian should do, Indian should cover. And quite frankly, you know, there's a lot of Harley bikes where you get on and the seats and the suspension stock right out of the gate are much better. So it's something that they can definitely look to improve in their next release. Otherwise, most of the things that I would change, or most of the things that I have changed, I would expect to change. And or otherwise for more aesthetic purposes. What a beautiful day out here, heading up to the Hawk's Nest. All right, guys, hope everybody's doing well. Again, to all you fathers out there, ride safe. Happy Father's Day.